Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm very happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading. Here we go. Honey Bucket, come here and lay down. Come here and lay down, you sweet angel. All right. Sorry, I was talking to my grand dog. She's still hanging out with her old grandma. All right, lay down, you cutie. All right, here we go. For Pisces, please, Spirit, what messages does Pisces need to hear? What messages are in Pisces' highest and best good right now? For Pisces. For Pisces. Oh, Pisces, that good old Khalil Gibran quote. Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, much of love is lost. Pisces, wow. You know, this is one of those situations where, I don't know, you know, it feels like I'm getting, like, it could go either way. Like, I'm getting it really dramatically spoken. I don't know what that's about. But it, you know, it may be that we're like kind of waiting with bated breath for the results here. This feels very dramatic. And to be honest, the energy has been a bit dramatic. I don't know, you know, we're coming out of that intense Mercury retrograde. We're coming out of that intense Lionsgate portal. There's been a lot of planetary lineups that have been intense. I'm not an astrologer, but I've heard all about them. And, you know, I think, you know, Venus being in Cancer, such an emotional, sensitive sign, it does feel like things are getting close to the surface, you know? We can't hide it anymore. Like maybe, you know, certain times are more conducive to suppressing things and pushing things down and hiding things and ignoring things. And this just doesn't feel like one of those times. It feels like these are the moments that, you know, things have to come to the surface. And as a result, things are getting determined. With the energy I'm feeling right here, it is this energy of, you know, I feel like people holding back. It's like we're having conversation, or we're communicating, or we have communicated, but we've left big parts out. You know, maybe I've told you that I miss you, but I haven't told you that I love you. Maybe I've told you that, you know, I could see a future with us, but I haven't told you that I want a future with us. You know, there's big differences. You know, some people call it semantics, but the meaning of what is said or not said is vastly different. And when we're not authentically communicating what we're feeling, you know, it's hard for growth and connection to have a chance. The closer we are to our authenticity and to our truth, the greater the opportunity is. Yes, there is a greater opportunity for rejection. And yes, we have to listen to our intuition, because sometimes we're dealing with wounded people who aren't quite ready for everything that we have to offer. But we have to have a willingness and a bravery about us to, you know, if the opportunity arises, or, you know, if we're feeling like we're ready for that, you know, that we're gonna do it. We're gonna take the chance, and we're going to, you know, put the full weight of our chest behind what we're saying. You know, I do feel like this is a strong connection. I feel like, you know, maybe it has already been in separation. Maybe it's teetering on the brink, because either we say what we feel and we move to a deeper place, or I can't carry on. I feel both things. You know, I really feel both things. And in some respects, I feel them both at the same time. As in, we've been in separation and I've been harboring these deep feelings for you, but I don't know how much longer I can carry on with it. You know, I don't know how much longer I can believe in what's been redacted here, you know? And there is this mirroring energy. So what you are feeling, your person is feeling, you know, and it's kind of like one person has to be brave in order for the other person to be brave. It's like, what you do, I will do, or I'm waiting for a cue from you. But it takes one person taking that first step. And in situations like this, oftentimes the bravest person isn't willing to take that step because they've already been brave. They've already taken steps. And maybe they've even been rejected because maybe it wasn't the right time, or maybe that person wasn't in that mindset at the time. And so it's sort of feeling like it's requiring bravery from the least brave party. Let's see. Something is possible here, okay? Definitely something is possible. Well, I think this is sort of a defining moment. We are sort of at a crossroads, and what are we going to choose? This connection or this separation? Let's see. Wow. This is very intense. For some of you, it feels like something that's still trying to get off the ground. For others of you, it feels like something that's, had its time, whatever that means. But oh my God, I literally said Venus and Cancer energy. And you have Venus and you have offer coming out. I feel like that is definitely a sign. Someone may be contemplating making some kind of stronger offer here. Look at that, the mirror. So the broken parts, the part of us that are afraid. When this first came out, I literally thought this offer said fear. There's always a reason why my mind plays those tricks on me. And it can be that Venus in Cancer is bringing up a lot of fear. Wow. Oh my. What energy. Wow. Yeah. So I'm getting an energetic dance here. And it's taking me right back to that place about bravery, about what I literally just said about bravery. And how I said, the one person has already been brave and may have even been rejected for their bravery. It wasn't, I feel, indicative of how someone felt, right? I feel like it was indicative of someone's bravery at the time. And, at the mirroring energy is so incredible here, because you have this mirroring, which is, the kind of the closeness and the I'm allowing you. Our neck is a very vulnerable spot. If you get an injury to your esophagus or to your trachea or to your jugular vein, you can die. So there is a vulnerability here and an exposure of the vulnerability to someone, right? And so when we allow that kind of energy, it seems like someone hangs in there with us, at least partially, okay? But when we get defensive or protective, and we are reflecting the broken parts within us, the unhealed trauma within us, that also gets reflected, right? Your unhealed parts trigger my unhealed parts, right? And so there is this energy, and how it's coming to me is, within each of us is masculine and feminine energy, and it starts in our root chakra, right? And it goes up the spine, like the caduceus, how it has that energy like that. That's the male and female energy, and they crisscross at certain points in our chakra system. And, once that male and female energy reaches our crown chakra, we experience bliss. And that's the coming together and the balancing of the masculine and feminine energy. And you see how you have this receive open with this divine feminine energy here? So if you have been brave, if you've already kind of done the work or made the declaration or, exposed yourself, been this reflection of vulnerability, it may be time for you to step back into your feminine energy, because that's a masculine energy when we're taking action. when we're being brave, when we're putting our feelings out there, when we're making our declarations, when we're saying things. And you may need to go into your real feminine energy and just open up to receive and really surrender to the universe and really just put your manifestation out there and say, you know, I took my step, I took my action, I exerted my masculine energy, and I have put it out there, and I am open, and I am ready to receive this person, their declaration, their truth, their authenticity, period. And because both people, in order for relationships to thrive and to succeed and to have a chance, there has to be a real sense of balance. When we as human beings are balanced in our masculine and feminine energy, we are more successful. When we are manifesting and open to receiving, and also using our free will actions and choices to, back that up in the 3D world, we have the most success, because it's a give and take. Everything is a give and take. Everything is a balance. It's like, hey, universe, I'm putting this out there, and now you can give back to me, because I put these, I tell my kids, it's like putting fishing rods into the lake. My daughter is going to graduate from law school this year, and there's a lot of energy of, we got to find a job, and I said to her, just put all the fishing rods out there and let the universe show you what's for you. You take the action, you use your masculine energy to put it out there, and then you let the universe respond. You let the universe make you an offer. And that's kind of the same energy here. Wow, look at even on the feminine. I'm just now noticing. You see that energy signature of the going back and forth out of the crown chakra, the bliss, the coming together, the harmony. Wow. This is what is required. Now, is everyone going to show up? Of course not. No, because not everyone is going to find that bravery within them. At least not at this chance opportunity, right, that we're standing at. But are some people going to come forward? Absolutely. You have truth and expression right here. You have someone here with spy, watching, inspecting, and memories and nostalgia. So there are definitely people from your past who may be, really still very attached to your energy. Really, I'm sorry, you guys, I just realized how messed up that was. Really watching and, trying to figure out like where you stand, what their odds are, what their chances are. They may be trying to figure you out. They may be trying to figure out what it is that you want, or what it is that they can give, or what they want to give, or how they feel even. By kind of sitting with this memory energy, and by watching and trying to really decipher. If there's someone who's once bitten, twice shy, they want to be sure, they want to know, hey, if I take this chance, if I take this risk, I'm not going to end up in the same place I ended up with before. Like, this is going to be different this time. This is all about putting yourself in a space and in an energy to be able to receive. And I mean, honestly, it's even showing me like sitting in lotus position, and even like palms up, hands open like this. I'm ready to receive, universe. I am ready to receive, universe. Maybe that's even your mantra. All right. Maybe you can even say, I'm ready to receive love. I'm open. But we do need to give other people the opportunity to step into their masculine and to take charge. It is part of fulfillment, and that fulfillment is part of contentment. So in order to experience emotional contentment with another person, they have to feel fulfilled on their own. They have to feel like they earned it. They have to feel like they did something to achieve this, that they took a risk, that they made a contribution. That feeling, that high that you get when you take a risk and it pays off, they need that. It's showing me. And right, you can't, are all of them going to take the chance? No, they're not. I wish I could say, yep, 100% across the board. If you do this, then this. Some of you may be dealing with a fire sign. I am getting strong fire energy, but we are in Leo season, and Leo season can be a bit of a motivator. You know, where we know that the end of the year is approaching. You know, what is the legacy of 2025? Have we done what we said we were going to do? Have we done what we've set out to do? How do we feel about it? You know, we start to think that because we have such little time left to make a meaningful difference this year, you know, or it feels that way, right? Time is slipping. You're getting, our love affair possesses my soul. Soon we will be together again. The fire in our love keeps burning. It cannot be controlled or tamed. This is not someone who has given up on you, who is closed off. They may have at one point tried that, but, you know, when we suppress feelings, it's like I said, you know, right in the beginning of this video, there are some times where, you know, maybe a lot of things are in retrograde, you know, or whatever. I'm not an astrologer, but where it's easier to repress our feelings, or it's easier to hide from them. And it just feels like, I don't know, I feel as though things are very close to the surface right now, or they're getting closer to the surface. Like a lot of things have happened and a lot of shifts and changes have been made. And now things are getting a little bit more raw and a little bit more real. You know, if you want this, then you need to do this because you're losing your opportunity. Time is slipping, kind of energy here. Let's dive into the tarot. Wow, right off the bat, you have 3 8s. And I literally just said, you know, and maybe it's because we're in Leo season. And, wow, what a freaking situation this is. My goodness. We are in August. We are in the 8th month. I feel like this is a confirmation, again, you know, that what I was saying is relevant or pertinent, at least to some of you. So you have 3 8s here. And, you know, 888 is a really powerful angel number. It is an energy of abundance, prosperity, financial success. It is also an energy of things coming into alignment and aligning even with our kind of highest and best energy. And so this is really powerful. And, you know, with the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Pentacles here, especially with the 8 of Swords on the bottom of the deck, this is pretty profound, right? Because it could be someone's limited mindset, you know, their limited belief system, or it could even be their programming. You know, our culture programs us, our family programs us, society programs us. We receive a lot of programming. And oftentimes we don't even realize all the ways that we're programmed. But, you know, this swords, especially going directly into the skull, it's a limited belief system. It's something that, you know, I believe that I'm not in control of, or that I'm trapped into, or that I can't escape, you know, and it's keeping me stuck. It's preventing me from being able to grow. It's preventing me from being able to take risks. It's preventing me possibly from opening up to this type of vulnerability, being okay with it, right? But you have the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Cups is moving away from things that are not working for us. You know, things that can only get us to a certain point and then, you know, kind of keep us stuck, right? Because once we've invested that much and once we have established that deep of feeling for something, it's really hard to walk away. So we oftentimes stay stuck, hoping that if we just stay there and we just keep believing, it will shift, it will change. But a lot of times we have to walk away, or we have to even at least be willing to walk away in order for it to come together. With the 8 of Pentacles, this is self-mastery. You know, this is, I'm doing what I need to do for myself. I'm investing in myself. I'm working hard on myself. You know, if I have unhealed wounds that are sabotaging me, I've discovered I am my own healer, and it is in my control. And if I choose to do different, if I choose to leave a particular time in my life behind, then I will be successful at that. And I don't need to look back. If I believe that I deserve emotional contentment, at least on my own, but hopefully with another person, and it requires me to leave something behind, then I will work at it. I will do it. Then you have the Wheel of Fortune with the Queen of Cups in reverse. And, you know, the Wheel of Fortune it's not something that we ever really control. We control how we react to it, or how we respond to it, but we don't get to control what comes at us in life. And, you know, it is a matter of how we view it or how we look at it. When the Queen of Cups in reverse, it can be that this person feels like life has just dealt them a hand where they will not experience unconditional love, or that they don't deserve love, or that they don't even specifically deserve you, Pisces. We do have the Hangman underneath the Eight of Swords. So that's definitely one scenario, one opportunity, or like one reasonable answer, solution to this, what the cards are saying. Hey, Bunchy. Bhakti, will you take Bunchy and the llama out into the living room, please? It's just a lot of noise and a lot of squeaking. Could you please take Honey and the llama to the living room and play with her out there? Bubba, can you, for mama? This can also be where you came into their life very unexpectedly and showed them unconditional love, maybe something they had never experienced. Maybe they were not ready for it. Maybe they were not able to reciprocate or return it at that time. And maybe they are feeling your absence. You slip out of their life just as easily. You know, you came in, you woke something up in them. You may have even shown them what they were missing and what they deserved, but they weren't ready for this energy, you know, to step away from their limited belief system, and they lost you, or you left just as quickly as you arrived. They may want this to change. Yeah, wow. They didn't know what they wanted until they met you. Wow. Man, oh man, oh man. Okay. You've got the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck. Again, really heavy fire sign energy. Again, can be associated with just the fact that we are in Leo season. But that also then sort of tells me this is a real-time energy, or the roots of it are in real time here. You may not see the results of it in real time here, but this could be happening definitely underneath the surface. You may see the results a bit later. Tarot can take 8 months to a year to actually show itself in reality. You have the Four of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. It literally says on here, healing and recovery. And even if you look at this card, it's about finding balance. Which takes me back to that masculine, feminine energy and balancing that inside. You know, if we have it in our head that we're a victim, and if we have it in our head that we don't deserve love, we can really be in our distorted feminine energy, where we just think that things should just come to us, that we shouldn't, like, we deserve something that we're not receiving, or that, you know, we're just unlucky. It's even a way of escaping or avoiding and just allowing ourselves to kind of stay stuck in this kind of limited belief system. It's like, well, it's just not meant for me. I can't expect those things for myself. It's a very distorted feminine position. And this can be an energy of, you know, I need to rebalance, like recovery, like healing is my responsibility. And if I am sick of being a victim and I want something more and better for my life, and I now know what it is because I've experienced it and because I've seen it and it's been woken up within me, then I need to rise to meet that occasion. And I need to heal myself. I got this before this healing energy even came out. Like taking responsibility for my own healing journey and not saying my life is set in stone, but instead saying I can empower myself to make a change and to do different. And with that 8 of Cups energy, that's very powerful. You know, I'm leaving this mentality. I'm leaving this energy. And it is kind of a masculine energy, right? Because it is taking a step. It is an active energy. It is an active card. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune with the Queen of Cups with the 5 of Pentacles clarifying it. This person has a tendency to feel isolated, alone, misunderstood, not lovable, unloved, ignored, just very misunderstood. They tend to be a loner. But they also tend to be someone who's always watching and seeing other people have what they want. Or even I do feel an energy of them being focused potentially on you, Pisces, and feeling like that is what I want, especially because you have the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck with the words visionary leader on it. Underneath that, wow, you have the 7 of Cups. I do think this person is really fantasizing. They may even be looking at other people and saying, you know what, I want that, or I could have that, or that makes this okay. You know, like maybe they just recently got divorced, and even though they've already met you, they think it would look bad if they were to be in another relationship so soon. Or even other people are giving them the advice that they need to just take some time to themselves. But it's kind of like, but I know what I want. And they meet someone else who, you know, said, oh yeah, I was so lucky. I met the person that I was going to marry after my divorce, right after my divorce. And I just sort of seamlessly moved into that relationship. We've been together 15 years. We've got 3 kids. It's amazing. You know what I mean? And so there may be even a role model that's showing up in the energy here where it's like giving them this, hey, it can work. Wait a minute, you know, or someone that's experienced the same, they know that has experienced the same stuff in their life, maybe a sibling, maybe a parent, maybe a cousin, whatever. And they're watching that person have a different experience and they're like, it is possible. You know, my life is not set in stone. I could have something different. But I do feel this is something that they're not sharing with other people. I do feel like this is something that they are really keeping close to the vest here. Wow. Yeah, I think this is confirmation that, yeah, they are. They're keeping it very close to the vest. You know, this person, you have this Sun with the 9 of Wands. And, you know, this energy is the wounded warrior energy. And it is like, I'm seeing it clearly now. You know, I may have been a victim to all of these things, or I may have experienced all of these things. But the important thing about the 9 of Wands isn't that I experienced all these tragedies or heartbreaks or difficulties. It's that I got up every time. I persevered. I survived. And this with the Sun is a shift in a mindset. You know, you can definitely see with the Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Cups in reverse, and now the Chariot with the 9 of Wands with the Sun energy on it. It's saying, you know, I'm shifting what I'm making important in my narrative and in my story. And as I shift that, as I see myself as a survivor and as someone who never gave up, and that means that I'm deserving of success and victory with the Chariot. Now, the Chariot relies on one energy, and that is the balancing of masculine and feminine energy. In the Chariot, we have one white sphinx and one black sphinx, and they represent masculine and feminine energy, right? Yin and yang energy. And they're perfectly balanced. And that the Chariot is really a card that talks about balance. And it is that body, mind, spirit balance. It is that, masculine, feminine energy. It's not just manifesting, but it's also backing it up with my free will choices, right? And so this person is coming into alignment, they're coming into balance, and they're the way they're seeing themselves is shifting. They're starting to see themselves as potentially successful, as a survivor, as someone who deserves to cross the finish line successfully. With the moon, this is affecting their subconscious energy. And their subconscious energy is controlling the choices that they're making. So if they've been living in a victim mentality, all of the choices that they made were basically out of fear, out of not wanting to be the victim again, kind of almost securing the victim role, right? Because you can't have success if you don't take risk, if you don't take a chance. You can't come out the hero instead of the victim if you constantly choose to isolate and to be alone and to, dwell in this energy. This is a feminine energy, right? The moon is the feminine energy. And so, like I said, it's a very distorted feminine energy. With the 7 of Wands on the bottom of the deck, this is, I'm protecting this. It might even be their secret. I actually could see that this person may have been introduced to Eckhart Tolle or Dr. Joe Dispenza, like one of these guys that, yeah, I was gonna, there are women who also talk about this, but it is really showing me those two in particular. And they are very popular and they are very common. And you do see Eckhart Tolle and Dr. Joe Dispenza, quotes and stuff. At least I do, but of course this is my life and this is what I'm interested in. So of course my For You page is going to have things like this on it. But they are relatively mainstream. They're New York Times bestselling authors. And their ideas are getting more and more mainstream, even if they're not labeled as coming from them. So anyway, I don't know, but it's like maybe I'm doing a morning meditation here and I'm protecting this energy. I'm how do I want to say it? It's like I'm seeing, like, you put the seed in the ground and you cover it with dirt in the proper environment, but you also water it, you also fertilize it, you also keep the weeds from growing around it. I'm seeing someone care for it, but it's like my special secret project here. It's very personal to them. And it may be, really attached to this healing journey. Wow, okay, let's see. Wow. Now we've traded the King of Wands for the King of Cups. Oh, wow. With the 7 of Swords. So when that Wolf card came out back here, the 5 of Pentacles it was, I got this energy of envy and jealousy. And even a bit of almost like a distorted masculine energy where it's like jealousy and possessiveness and protection, but not in a safe, comfortable way, but in a, envious, jealous, like the intention or the source of it comes from insecurity rather than security, right? My husband and I were watching Blind Spot. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's on Netflix. I don't know. So one of our friends was like, you guys have to watch Blind Spot. And I don't watch like violent TV shows, and it does have some violence in it. There's a lot of shooting and stuff, but like, I don't watch it. My husband will say, okay, you can look now. Anyway, all of that being said, there's a scene where these 2 agents are posing as a married couple, okay? And they're in a high stakes, high pressure, very threatening environment. And the way this masculine was being possessive of the feminine, it was in a very secure way. It was, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, she was almost offended because she can take care of herself. And he was like, you're my wife. And I died. I was like, wow, that is that is it. That is like this type of protection and possessiveness that women really crave from men in a healthy way. You know, he was willing to go to bat for her. He didn't want someone patting her down more than they needed to. He, you know, it wasn't that he thought she couldn't take care of herself. It wasn't that he was taking anything away from her at all. She had saved his life, I don't know how many times, but he was letting his presence be known, and in a really like attractive way, I'll say. Anyway, that is that kind of masculine energy coming from a super secure place. Like, he knew he could back it up. You know, it wasn't that he wasn't in a threatening situation, but it was good. Okay, anyway, so if you've seen Blind Spot, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, okay. You guys know I love symbols and stuff, and this is why, like, our friends were like, oh my god, we thought of you, because this woman is covered in tattoos and they have to sort of decipher what these tattoos mean. And she was like, you are gonna love it because you know every symbol, you know everything, da 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 da. And I was like, wow, I've never felt so inadequate in my entire life. I was looking at them and I was like, I have no clue. And even when they were solved, I was like, wow, you know, that is next level. All right, but anyway, the power of television. You have the Three of Cups clarifying this moon card energy, all right? And this energy is, you know, I'm craving to come together. I'm craving to celebrate. I'm craving for life to be easy. That is what I want. But I'm stuck in this, you know, energy of all of my decisions are not leading me in that place. All of my decisions are coming from this place of fear and this place of illusion and this place of lack that exists in my subconscious. And when you want a different life than the one that you have, I feel like the answers are almost always in your subconscious mind. And it's something that we don't focus on, that we don't pay attention to. And the quickest way to reprogram your subconscious is subliminal messaging, frequency work. I will always be a proponent of yoga and putting that out there. Meditation, always, always, always. Meditation even more so than yoga. You do yoga to be able to meditate longer. That's why yoga was invented. But yoga is a way of life. It is so much more than the asanas. And it does bring you to a place where you are in harmony with your life in such a way that it is so much easier to meditate. Anyway, the thing is, it's like, I crave community. I crave celebration. I crave joy. I crave the opposite of what I'm experiencing. Where is the root of what I'm experiencing? Well, it's in the subconscious. It lies in your fears, your illusions, your programming. I almost pointed to the Eight of Swords that used to be on the bottom of the deck and is no longer there. It comes from those places. And so we have to find those places and we have to change them. And that is how we take our power back in a lot of ways. And it is also how we heal and how we have a different experience after we've experienced trauma. It's so important. You know, so I wish you a lot of luck with that if you're struggling with that. But, you know, this is that clarity of, I want something different than what I'm experiencing. And what is the mystery? Like, what is it that I'm not doing to have the life that I actually want? Where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from your subconscious. And the moon also represents the intuition. And a lot of times when we're misaligned and when we're disjointed, we don't have faith. We don't have trust in our intuition. We don't believe in ourselves. We've had it programmed out of us. You know, society and a lot of cultures, you know, really try to take us away from our own empowerment, which does come from listening to our intuition. So there's that as well. But the desire is there. The need, the want is there to have something different. And that is the seed, the catalyst, the thing that gives us that springing board to dive into the things that aren't seen, that aren't known to us, okay? And then you have this Nine of Wands energy with, what was it? The Chariot. Oh God, yeah. So we have 3 sevens now showing. The Chariot, the Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Wands. Sevens are like spiritual in nature. And this is, with the Seven of Swords and the Six of Swords, the Seven of Swords is where, you know, my way of thinking is misaligning me. You know, this is where, you know, people will say to you, I miss you, but then when they have the opportunity to see you, they don't show up for you. And you're like, what the hell? You just said you miss me and now you're not showing up. Something isn't aligning here. And oftentimes people don't even realize their own misalignment. You know, they have gotten so used to it that they've almost shifted their reality to believe that they are in alignment, but they're not. This is kind of what is happening within this person, where this is being exposed, where their way of thinking or what they've been telling themselves about the situation, I can't have this, I can't change this, I am a victim, I can't experience something else, is actually in direct conflict with the evidence that exists in their life. That is, yeah, all these things have happened to me, but guess what? I've survived and I'm still holding on, and I still have this desire, and this desire is driving me. And so I don't want, this is an uncomfortable, yucky feeling to be in misalignment. You cannot experience contentment from this space. You have to learn the spiritual lesson in order to break through this energy and move on to the 8s and the 9s and the 10s. And so I have to identify where I'm misaligned. What is it in my thinking that is preventing me from being at peace, from being free of conflict, from being able to actually smooth sail towards this life that I imagine and envision for myself? These are lavender fields. Lavender is serenity. It is calm. It is abundance, just like any other field that's ready to be harvested. So what is keeping me from this energy, from these good feelings, from peacefulness, from contentment, from serenity, from all of this? Well, it's this misalignment. It's this belief that this doesn't already belong to me. And this is somehow being exposed. Someone's having a lot of clarity about this. You have the King of Cups. This is emotional mastery. And this is, I have finally found a way to have big feelings for someone, for something, for life, and to not be reactful, to not self-sabotage, to not let my misalignment derail me from what it is I'm actually seeking. I've learned new ways to adjust and adapt and actively pursue love. 8 of Pentacles right underneath it, guys. Wow, Justice right underneath that. Soul contract. The angel numbers are coming out in full force today. You know, right now you have 2 4s. Now we're talking about the foundation in which we're going to build this new chapter in our life upon. Okay? And this is a major decision that this person is making. They're like, no more. I am not going to be out of alignment. I am not going to let this limited belief system dictate to me what is possible in my life. I'm ready to move on from that energy. You know, this is the 4 of Swords, but it's almost showing up like this 6 of Swords energy. You know, we associate with the boat, moving from choppy water to peaceful water. With Justice here, this is my choice, this is my decision, and it begins, the foundation of it is healing. It is coming to a place of peace and acceptance with everything that is, and understanding that my life is mutable, understanding that my life is changeable. It's in flow. It isn't in stone. You know, I have the power to move in any direction that I want, and to choose to change that direction at any time. It's all changeable. And I'm making the decision now to seek peace, to seek understanding, to seek healing, to seek acceptance with what is. And that's my foundation. And when I operate from a foundation of being healed, I make the highest and best choices for myself. Justice is also a very interesting card here, because justice is making strong decisions without relying on emotion. And we have the King of Cups here. So, maybe before I was emotional, or my decisions came from a place of a knee-jerk reaction in order to, I need to feel comfortable. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling exposed. I need to cover that. I need to run. I need to escape. I need to hide. And with justice, it is like I am able to hold my emotions at bay, and I am able to look at the situation and say, how does it align with my priorities? Justice is a very interesting thing, because, we have to make choices about justice. What is fair? How do we make someone whole after they have a terrible experience? Is it even possible? And what is the closest that we have to offer to get to it? I look at the Karen Reed trial. This woman's lost 3 years of her life. They won't return her cell phone or her car. The travesty of that, how you could ever make her whole, even if you give her millions of dollars because you basically were terrible to her. And it was a complete miscarriage of justice from the beginning. It was repulsive. And that, it's my opinion, but oh man, if you really look into that, yikes. How do you do it? Well, there isn't a way to say, okay, you know what, I take away the last 3 years of your life. Okay, it never happened. We're rewinding time, and we never did that to you. And you are living your life forward as if none of that ever happened. We can't do that, right? And so it is about coming to a place of peace and acceptance with what has been, and then saying, okay, now that this is back in my hands, now that my life is my own and I am able to make these choices for myself, what are those choices going to reflect? Where I'm headed, or the fact that I went through something that I never should have had to go through in the first place? The choice is yours, And I feel like with this person, with these cards here, they are looking toward the future. They are looking to elevate their life. They are looking to start on the foundation of healing and well-being and strength, and say, okay, now it is in my hands. I can't unwind time, and I can't have none of those things ever happen, but I can move from a position of power here forward. And I've heard that that's what Karen Reed is doing. And wow, how inspiring, how aspirational. Thank you, Karen Reed, for being such a great example. But, these are choices that we all have always in our life, and it is a big decision. And that's why it is a major arcana. The choice that when we take our power back and we say, yeah, I'm not the sum total of, who I've been, that narrative, that story that I tell, that's not who I am. Who I am is who I am right now in this present moment. And where I'm going and what I'm doing is determined in this moment right here. If I want to give my power to the past, then I can make that choice here and now, and I can stay stuck there, and I can say, my life is set in stone. I have no choice. This has been my experience, and this is all I know, and so this is all I can have. Or we can say, fuck that, I gave enough and too much to that already, and I am a capable, deserving human being who, has worked hard to master themselves and heal the wounds of my past and come to a place of acceptance with it, and damn, I am moving on from here. This is the first moment of the rest of my life, and here we go. There's nowhere to go but up, So someone's making some pretty profound decisions here. And they are toward serenity, toward abundance, toward peace, toward something new, a new experience. Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm actually sort of getting emotional about this energy myself. I feel a kind of a swelling pride here. You have this Four of Swords with the Queen of Swords with the Page of Wands. And this energy is clarity, it's discernment. We got a card that said discernment, I don't know, recently, the other day. And the Page of Wands has continuously come out for you guys in your readings. And the Page of Wands is where we're like, I'm staking this claim. This is where I'm going. I'm excited about this adventure. This is the path that I choose. I'm committing to it. I'm getting all behind it. And I'm going for it. And this is like, I have the discernment and the clarity to make this choice and this decision. Someone is literally saying, my life starts right here, right now. Like, I'm doing different. Especially with judgment, clarifying, justice. This is like a decision point that is life-changing. This is, I am not the same person that I once was. I don't subscribe to that. And keep in mind, we don't get here overnight. You know, this is a process. So people may be at different places in their process here. We may be leading up to this kind of energy. You know, this is Scorpio energy. This is Libra energy. The Queen of Swords is Libra energy. The Four of Swords is Libra energy. So it could be a heavy emphasis on Libra, Scorpio time frame here. For the seeds that may be planted here in Leo season. You also have Aries energy coming out pretty strong in this reading. The Seven of Pentacles, these are seeds. Again, this actually even reaffirms what I just said about the time frame. How crazy. This actually may have even started in Cancer season because we have had quite a few sevens here piled up. But there is this energy of, it even says reevaluation here on this card. Wow. The Seven of Pentacles is that representation of, you know, we don't harvest the fruit the same day we plant the seed. It takes time, and there is divine timing. Things are happening. We are in a cycle here where things are coming closer and closer and closer and closer to the surface. I felt this at the beginning of the year, but not nearly as strongly as I feel it now. And it does feel like we're running out of time. We're running out of runway. The latter half of this year may be very intense. The energy may be very intense. We may see a lot of changes happening, not just in love, but just everywhere. For sure. I definitely pick up on that. Okay. All right. I'm just going to do one more. Wow. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. Oh, you guys, this basically makes me want to cry. Oh my God. And do you see what card is poking out under that Six of Cups? The Star. And that naturally occurred when I put the deck down. There's several cards in between. Look at that. The Empress, the Three of Swords, and the Page of Swords. Oh my God. Guys, I love tarot. All right, so we have the Strength card with the Three of Cups. And, you know, the Three of Cups was this pivotal energy. This is the thing that, you know, I want this life. This is what I envision for myself. This celebration, this sense of community, not being alone, not losing all the time, not being the victim all the time, but instead coming out on top, coming out the victor, being successful. And look at that. We have the Strength card with the Three of Cups. The Strength card is where we overcome our lower vibrational tendencies. This reading is filling me with hope. It's filling me with love, and it is filling me with gratitude. I hope it's doing the same for you. I hope you feel this frequency. It's so strong and it's so beautiful. And even with the Six of Cups, you know, my husband and I, when we first got together, we were extremely poor. Like I literally had to take my calculator to the grocery store, and like I was very ill-equipped for this because I was not raised. I wasn't even raised to consider like $100, spending $100. That was like nothing to me. And like this is back in the 90s. And So when I literally had like, hopefully $15 to buy groceries for an entire week for 2 people, and I really didn't know how to cook, it was a very intense change in my life. And having to take my laundry and into my car, into a laundromat, that was a very intense experience in my life. But I did it. I was determined and I did it. And I really look at that time in my life a lot like the Knight of Pentacles. It seemed to stretch on forever. You know, it took a long time for things to change for us. You know, and anyway, you know, my husband and I, 30 years later, we talk about those times with such fondness, with such, you know, because the laundromat had Miss Pac-Man, and we used to like put our laundry in and then like intensely compete on the Miss Pac-Man machine against each other. And, you know, we talk about it all the time. And not all the time, but when we do talk about it, it's very nostalgic. You know, when we had to slay our dragons, when we had to show what we were made of, when we had to just get by, when things were really, really, really difficult. Thankfully and luckily, we haven't experienced that since. But when we were in it together, and we learned how to kind of, I think, be a team and to really communicate and to really find our joy and our pleasure in stuff like the Miss Pac-Man machine. And if we happen to, like I worked retail, and we could win like bonuses and stuff, and I won them kind of a lot. And when I did, we would get like Chinese food. You know, we would eat out. Like, it was so intense. Where there was this place down the street that has served pizza by the slice. And it was like, oh my God, we're going to get pizza by the slice. You know, but we look back on that. And even, you know, to this day, if we eat Chinese food or something, we're always like, remember that place? You know, it wasn't the best Chinese food, but wow, it was such a treat. It felt like the best Chinese food. And every step along the way that we've taken to becoming more and more financially secure, or, you know, to just, you know, not surviving but thriving kind of energy, it is like such a gift to always be able to reflect back on this time where it was, you know, we were fighting to survive. We were, you know, literally counting our pennies. We didn't know how we were going to make it, you know. Gosh, I remember the 6 is even bringing me back. When we first moved to Orlando, parking at Disney World was $6. And we had passes. That was the one thing that we bought when we got here. And because we had never been to Disney World. And wow, it was life-changing to go to Disney World. We were both just like kids in a candy store. And I never thought I wanted to go to Disney World. But parking was $6, and we often could not afford the parking in order to go to the park. And you get parking for free now. But we would have to park at the resort and take the resort tram. You can't do that anymore. That you can't park at a resort unless you have the like a dining reservation or a reservation at the hotel. And so, you know, we got to know all the resorts. We got to, you know, we found all these nook and crannies, and we would dream and manifest like being able to do staycations at the Contemporary, at the Polynesian, at the, you know, and we did it, you know, we did a lot of it, you know. It was, we've been so lucky. But yeah, that establishing yourself, or having to fight in order to get to this place where you're able to celebrate, or where you are kind of out of that fight or flight mode, or you are out of just survival mode, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether, you know, however it is, whatever that looks like. Anytime that you do that, you know, and you look back on that self that was the bridge, you look back on the self that went through the survival, and you thank that self, you thank that version of yourself. You know, I thank that version of myself all the time, you know, and I thank that version of my husband all the time. You know, we did it, and like never really felt that terrible for ourselves, never really felt that you know, poor, or that stricken, or that, you know, whatever. But anyway, when your life finally aligns and it looks like the life that you imagined for yourself and you're walking in your own manifestation, right? You have this sense of joy and celebration and completion. It's it's showing up here like the Three of Cups, which is telling me that's only the beginning for this person. Because if it wasn't, we would see the World card here instead. The World card is where we really come into alignment with all that is. We feel that connection with everything that is. Every former self that brought us to this point, all of the universe, all of the opportunities that fell into our laps or that, we pursued or that brought us to this new place, this place of celebration where we always kind of imagined ourselves. It's a very blissed out feeling. It is that feeling of the masculine and feminine energy reaching the crown chakra and hitting bliss. Absolutely. So, this is about overcoming our lower vibrational self in order to have that, in order to show up there, in order to come into alignment with that vision of ourselves that we hold. And it's that vision of ourselves that really does become that North Star. That is the decision point that we're making here with this justice and this judgment. Is like, I deserve this. I'm going to have this. And, nothing is going to sabotage that or affect that or anything. And the Three of Cups can be a reconciliation. So this is a really potent, powerful energy. It's really beautiful. And it's really spiritual. Yeah, it's like beautiful. I don't know how to describe it, but it's blissing me out right here in the middle of the morning in a very overcast Central Florida. I love you guys who comment like, I'm in St. Pete. I'm in between Tampa and Orlando. All right, guys. But I consider Tampa my city. Okay. If you are dealing with a water sign, you have, I am still moved by you. I don't want to let you down. I want your attention. I am overthinking everything and daydreaming. If you are dealing with a fire sign, this could even be someone who's even nostalgically looking back on a connection, coming into alignment and saying, life is a battle. And if I'm going into this battle, I'm choosing you. I want to do it with you. You're the person I want to fight with. Looking back, I'm very clear about it. If you are dealing with a fire sign, you have blocking. You have, I am overcoming my fears. You have annoyed. You hit me out of nowhere. Good intentions. Trust me. And triggered. If you are dealing with an earth sign, okay. I am ready for more than just texts. Wait for me. I won't let you go. I had no idea you would end up meaning so much to me. Resentment. I am making plans. Indecisive. And if you are dealing with an air sign, my nerves get the best of me sometimes. Angry. I want a future with you. I can't stop thinking of you. And stuck. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. Let's watch this energy swell and grow. And if you have been the one to take the steps, to take the risks, to do the thing, step back, step into that beautiful feminine energy that you possess and open yourself up to really receive abundance, serenity, peace, acceptance. Yeah. All right, this is what I have for you. I really hope that it helps. Until next time, guys, I send you off with all of my very best to you. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.